my talk. Here we go. How he said he living life as a gringo, where you question where you fit in every time you mingle. They say you do this with not enough that. My rapping is really bad. This life as a gringo.
Yes, hello and welcome to another episode of Life as a Gringo. I am Dramos, of course. And man, we are in the midst of Financial Literacy Month, but we're going to take a little break from talking about finances because I want to talk about what I think is kind of the other half. You know, I always talk about how success is this incredibly personal relationship that you have with yourself and what makes you happy and what makes you fulfilled. And obviously, the financial is a part of that. You know, we exist in a world where we need money to keep a roof over our head. We need to feed ourselves, take care of our families. You know, it's an essential tool. But on the other side of it, you don't want to go too far down the road where money is the driving factor. And I know this sounds redundant. We talk about this all the time, but it's just something I want to beat into everybody's head because I feel like we are all programmed to take the easy check and think that that's going to provide us with happiness. And we forget the other component, the balance that's in this, in actually doing things that excite us and actually being passionate about the things that we spend the majority of our time doing, which, you know, if you're working a 40+ hour work week, that is the majority of your time. So I want to take a break from talking about Financial Literacy Month related things. And I wanted to kind of dive back into the conversation of unlearning, which I shared from the previous mastermind I did last month, as well as diving into the idea of filling your heart. You know, when I talk about quitting your job or thinking about your options, you know, the other side of that is filling your heart. It means creating time, creating space, creating opportunity for you to focus your attention and your time on the things that fill your heart. So I want to actually share with you the recent mastermind that I did for the Just Be Social Club. I've shared 2 of them thus far, and I got a lot of really great feedback from people. And this is a closed group at this point. It's private. We capped it at about 10 people. I am thinking about starting a second one. I know a few of you have been added to the wait list. So if you want to be another person added to it when we open up the mastermind, the Just Be Social Club to more people, email Brenda at mindofayounglord.com, and I'll put the link for that in the show notes. But I wanted to share this latest one because I'm seeing change in real time. I'm seeing the people that joined this club, and we did the first one in February, and it's like night and day. The change that I'm seeing in people is so real just from these 3 meetings that we've had and, you know, the kind of group text that we have going on. You know, it's incredible to see when you show people a different way to look at life, a different lens to see life through. The shift that could happen for them in a very short period of time. And I've been growing since doing this as well. You know, I've been feeling like I'm a part of something bigger than myself, which has always been, you know, the goal and the dream. And yeah, these masterminds have just been so powerful. So I wanted to share another one, you know, again, for those of you who aren't, you know, able to be a part of the group because we capped it, you know, it's just really beautiful to see a group of people come together, allow themselves to be vulnerable amongst one another and start out as strangers, but now begin building a rapport with one another and a relationship with one another where many are sharing things that they may not be even sharing with some of their family members, right? Or their closest friends. You know, they're able to be more open and honest with this group because we've created a safe space, you know, and that's the beauty of the Just Be Social Club and these masterminds. And, you know, I feel like I hit my stride with it this last one, and I kind of see the bigger picture now. And, you know, we're going to open this up in a bigger way, you know, for people to really make some sort of substantial change in your life and to really recognize what's important to you and to help you down that road. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to give it too much away, but there's a lot of big plans and, you know, in the works for this being something bigger than just a once a month meetup or just being something that you kind of hear on my podcast. There's a bigger vision for all of this because I can see again the change that happened to people in such a short period of time. So today's show, we're going to be playing some parts from the Just Be Social Club this last month here in April. Again, we're going to be focusing a lot on unlearning, which we kind of left off on from the last one, and then also talking about the idea of filling your heart. And that's something I've been on heavy with my social media if you've been following at DJ Dramos. So we'll dive into all that. It'll be for our Mi Gente segment, and then also I'll get y'all's take on the idea of filling your heart for our Ask a Gringo segment. But first, man, let's just kind of dive into some of this mastermind that I did this month with my Just Be Social Club. Again, you want to be put on the waiting list. Brenda at mindofayounglord.com. Send her an email, and she'll add you to the waiting list. Without further ado, let's get into this last month's Just Be Social Club in our Mi Gente segment. Mi Gente. And on that topic of old ideas and like these loops and depression, all these different things that happen within us, this sort of old ideas that continue to play themselves out in our minds. I wanted to read a page from my book, Just Be, and that I wrote about this exact thing and what I was struggling with. So in it, I said, what if I told you the voice in your head, the one filling you with self-doubt, wasn't actually you? That it was simply your mind looping a random collection of thoughts and ideas from all the naysayers you've come across in your life. Would it change the way you hear it? This is an idea I've been trying to explore and drill into my own head. I've come to realize that I have been the one behind my greatest letdowns and failures. Not because I wasn't good enough, but instead because I allowed my self-doubt to take me out of the game. I allowed it to give me an easy way out, to make it okay to half-ass an idea, to make an elaborate plan only to stumble through certain milestones and eventually give up on it altogether. Self-doubt made it okay to chase the next shiny thing when I inevitably hit an obstacle. It made it okay to not hold myself accountable for breaking the endless promises that I made to myself. The truth is, you're not lazy or stupid. Your ideas aren't trash and you aren't a failure. Instead, like so many of us out there, you were never given the foundation needed to block out the noise of the outside world and all of its judgment and limiting beliefs. The good thing is, it's never too late to learn to celebrate your greatness, to genuinely appreciate the unique way your mind works, to have enough self-love to pick yourself up when you fall and not let it slow you down from executing your plans to the best of your ability. The only voice inside your head that actually matters and is authentically you is the one treating you with unconditional love. All right, so I hope that was insightful for some of you listening at home who don't get to be a part of the Just Be Social Club as of right now. Again, we capped it. It's just a private group right now. It's the first time I'm leading a mastermind like this. We meet once a month. But I am going to be opening up a second one soon, hopefully. So if you want to be added to the waiting list, if you think that there's something, of value there, email brenda at mindofayounglord.com and you will get added to that waiting list. And yeah, I don't know, it's just been, again, beautiful to see the growth of everybody, including myself, and this journey that we're all on together and we're forever bonded. And I think it's just amazing, particularly when you talk about our community. These are people of color. These are people who have traditionally not been allowed to speak their feelings or just told to pray away anything that's wrong with them and, have the immigrant story, the immigrant struggle. So this is a really special thing that's happening because this doesn't happen for people like us often. Wellness and self-help and self-care, are oftentimes things that we think of for privileged people. When I think of meditation and yoga and all these different things, I think of, soccer moms in Lululemon pants. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something we were all brought up on. But there's value, and it can be life-changing for so many of us, and it is. And has been for me and so many people that I've talked to. We just have to learn to embrace it and create a space that works for us. And luckily through this, hopefully we have voices that look and feel like us that make us comfortable enough to try something new and to take our lives in a different direction, which is the ultimate goal, right? To grow and become better than we were yesterday. Now, with that said, I want to get y'all's take on this idea of filling your heart. So we'll do that for our Ask a Gringo segment.
Ask a Gringo!
I have a question. All right, so for this week's Ask a Gringo segment and at DJ Dramos, if you want to be a part of these conversations, let's see. I simply just wanted to get y'all's take on the idea of filling your heart, right? And I just asked people, if money wasn't an obstacle, what would you want to do every day? Like that was the main question. That's what I asked people in the Just Be Social Club. And it's just a very simple question, but like one that I think so many of us don't ever even think about. It doesn't cross our minds because it just seems like an impossibility. It's like, I can't do the thing I love doing every day because I have to make money. And I just think it's important to expand your horizons a little bit and begin to think about what lights that fire for you. What is that passion? And open your mind to how do we make that a real possibility in my life? And even if it's not every day, at least a lot more than it is happening right now. So let's see. I'm going to read a couple that we got here. Actually, a bunch of you guys said a similar answer. So see, at Chels_Zane said travel for sure. I want to see more of the world. At TJ Charity said travel. At Viet D Dog 21, number one answer, travel. So a bunch of you guys said travel. And I think that's obviously an incredible goal to have. And I think when we talk about much of this idea of filling your heart, and a lot of, I guess, the direction that I've been bringing it is in terms of your job. But even beyond that, it's how do you create a life that allows you the flexibility to do travel more? If that's really what lights your fire, if that's what you want your life to be about right now. And maybe you can find a job that allows you to travel for a living, right? That's a possibility. Maybe a job that allows you to work remotely and you can travel on your own accord and still work your job. You know, when I was doing the podcast producing gig, I had one of the guys that I was working alongside, like went and took, I believe it was like 2 months in Hawaii. He had a friend who had a house out there, wasn't using it. He stayed with, in that house with his girlfriend, and he worked from Hawaii and spent the rest of his, off time while he was there hanging out and enjoying the sights and sounds, like these are all possibilities in the world that we live in. You just have to kind of figure out a creative way to make it happen. And that's really what I'm trying to push here. Like I say, quit your job and all these different things like that. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case for everyone. And it might actually just literally be the case for you to quit this job and go find another one, right? Like it's literally just, how do I creatively find a way to live life, right? If traveling is the thing that makes me happiest, how do I find opportunities, or how do I carve my life out in a way that allows me to do that? And again, if you can find a job that allows you to work remotely, you can travel more consistently and work from wherever it is that you're traveling around. Maybe you don't find a job that allows you to work remotely, but you find a job that allows you extra vacation time, right? Or allows you to even fucking have extended weekends. Like maybe you only have to be in the office 3 days a week. So that means that you can then fly out on a Wednesday night and again, be working Thursday, Friday remotely, and then have the weekend completely free in a new city. Like, again, I just want your brain to begin to get creative, like, and not be so sucked into the 9 to 5 grind. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I have to be here, and then everything else works around it. Like, no, you can get creative with how you live your life. There are so many different opportunities depending on what it is that you want to do, for a living, or what it is that you're passionate about, right? You just have to get creative and then go out there and find them. Again, when I quit my job or was looking to quit my job, my stipulations were, I want a job that I can work remotely. When I was leaving the Breakfast Club and transitioning, I needed to have another job that at the time gave me a consistent check. I'm only going to be looking at and reaching out and then interviewing for jobs that would allow me to work completely remotely, because I want to be able to have the flexibility in my days and where I spend them. And that's what I did, and it wasn't the easiest process. It eliminated a lot of other jobs. But again, I found a creative way to work around the idea of needing income, obviously, and still being able to get the lifestyle that I wanted out of it. And that's what I'm really, really trying to drive home for people. Let's see. At Street Sheet Pod says, podcast and production or barber full-time. And I think either one of those is possible. I just talked about producing. There are plenty of, available opportunities. You go on LinkedIn and you set an alert for podcast or producing, and you want to put like remote as your other option if you want to be remote. They'll email you jobs almost every day that pop up on there. And that's what I had. And I would apply for all those jobs. And the beauty of the world that we live in today with podcasting, it's beneficial for so many different types of people to do podcasting that everybody has a podcast, right? I interviewed for a job that was a law firm that was putting out a couple podcasts a week. And they wanted somebody full-time on staff to handle all the production and post-production of it. And that was a law firm, right? Never in a million years would you have thought that, your interest in production or audio would also meet itself in a law firm setting. But again, it's pointing out the fact that it doesn't have to be with some big brand like iHeart or Spotify or Audible or Amazon, whatever it is. Like, there are so many other opportunities. There was a computer like software company that had a podcast that they were hiring somebody full-time to do their podcast. Like, again, all of this stuff is beneficial, and some of it's part-time. So maybe if you have a couple other things going on, you have a part-time gig that pays you X amount of money. You can count on that check each month and then use the rest of your time to build whatever it is you're doing, right? There are opportunities out there. It may not be in the way that you're envisioning it right now, but again, it's small steps. That's what I've been talking about. You're obviously not wanting to edit a podcast and produce a podcast for a law firm on, in the long-term vision of your life. That's not what you want to do for every day for the rest of your life. But again, it's a stepping stone that frees up time, frees up mental space, and gets you moving towards what you want. And that's what we're all hoping for. And the other thing you said, barber full-time. I mean, I know that while you're learning and all those different things, it's hard to get a gig, but that's another, to me, attainable goal. If you really put your time into hustling in that way, you can make it happen. The only thing I would say is you're talking about two different things that have nothing to do with one another, unless it's a barber podcast related type of thing. But generally speaking, being a barber or being a full-time podcaster producer are two very completely different things. And I know it's hypocritical for me for some people because I do a million and one different things, but everything I do feeds the other thing. They are all, generally speaking, an ecosystem, right? And Clinton Sparks has a really great book where he explains this. It's called How to Win Big in the Music Business, but it literally is just like a business book in general. But it's about creating an ecosystem that everything you do feeds the other one. It's just like this circle where they're all, when you do great in one part of it, it feeds the other thing. And that's, doing things that are related to one another. When you see success in one of them, it aids the other part of you. So that's something to keep in mind. You might have to pick a lane, and not saying you just have to do one thing, but you have to at least pick things that are related to one another so that you can create that ecosystem where they're all helping each other, while you're building. And let's see, at Bren J Life Coaching says, read, learn, mindset coach, and be in community, podcast, etc. And, all of that is obtainable. And the beautiful thing about that is there's a actual monetary value in what you're talking about. Being a coach, coaching people on their mindset and different things like that. People pay money for that. That's a valuable resource to have. And podcasting, again, it can be the thing that makes you money, or it can be something that markets your business at the end of the day, right? But that's that ecosystem right there. And it's just about creating a plan and little by little getting there, one client at a time until eventually you can quit your other job and now you get to do this full time, but it's recognizing this is what you're passionate about and then trying to build it out, what is the end goal, and then do all the steps from there, backtrack. What are all the steps that would get me to that end goal? And the last one I'll read is at Shells2173 says, helping you. I would love for you to join the team. Hopefully one day, soon we'll need to add another person to the team. We're slowly building it out, but I would love that, and I appreciate you for thinking of me. And at DJ Dramos, you want to be a part of these conversations for our Ask a Gringo segment. But now let's tie everything we talked about today in a neat little bow in a segment we call Conclusion Stew.
Time for conclusion stew.
All right, so I'll keep it short and sweet here. I think a lot of what has been helping people and what's been resonating in this group that we've been together in is this idea of unlearning, of asking questions, of opening your eyes to the things that are holding you back, right? and recognizing the patterns that have happened throughout the course of your life, and really deep diving into where did all of this start, and recognizing in that, and I talked about it, recognizing that like this is a learned pattern, and the beauty of it being a learned pattern, no matter how destructive it's been in my life, the fact that it's something I learned, it means that I can now unlearn it, right? In the same way that it was learned, it can also be unlearned with a little bit of work, or maybe a lot of bit of work. It can be unlearned, and it no longer has to be something that has an effect on my life. And that's what we have to start thinking about. And I think that's what's been so, I don't know, eye-opening for me personally when I learned this concept, but I've seen it in the people that are part of this group, that I meet up with each and every month. And it's that dedication to bettering yourself, right? And particularly, again, when you talk about our community, these are not conversations that typically happen. We are not people who are going to be overly vulnerable, especially with strangers. We don't believe in therapists, traditionally, and we sweep shit under the rug, and we are told to pray things away, all of which are toxic ways to deal with the things that are plaguing us, and it's important for us to do the work to unlearn and to break these generational curses and these terrible traditions that have been passed down to us, and that dedication towards seeing life through a different lens, is a huge step. And again, only 3 times meeting up with this group, like just the fact that their mindset shifted and they're seeing things through a different lens, like has had a profound effect on their lives in a positive way. So, that's why the idea of unlearning is so important. And then, the idea of filling your heart is just finding the thing that lights that fire, and it may not be something that is a viable career, right? I know that's the lens I've been talking about it a lot through, but it might be something that you then shape your life around so that you can create the space needed to do this thing on a consistent basis. I know a lot of you said travel, so how do you then have a career, a job that gives you far more flexibility so that you can consistently do this thing that you love in travel, right? And again, you can interject the word travel with anything else that you want to do. But it's just about creatively looking at life and recognizing life doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be this sort of cookie cutter, one size fits all lifestyle that has been, told to us since we were kids in school. Like, you can figure out ways to make life work for you. And in fact, you need to figure out ways to make life work for you. I want you to open your mind into the possibilities of what your days could look like, how you spend them, that you don't have to have the exact same schedule that you have right now, right? You don't have to have the same job. There are other jobs that have more flexibility and, more possibility with technology now, like depending on whatever it is that you want to do, like figure out a way to craft life to make it work for you, not the other way around, right? And that's the idea of filling your heart, is building your life in a way that allows you to consistently do things and be around people and have experiences that fill your heart. And that is what leads to a fulfilling life, right? It is a life that is crafted around what makes you happy rather than a life that is built around trying to just get in your happiness where it fits in. And that's this concept of filling your heart that I'm really trying to drive home. And man, I'm hoping to have this sort of build out that we can have more people be a part of these conversations. Again, the first Just Be Social Club, that group is closed. We're going to be starting a second one at brenda at mindofyounglord.com. If you want to get on that waiting list, just shoot her an email. And I'll put that link in the show notes. But yeah, I don't know. I have a bigger vision right now for being able to, I think, impact more people's lives with this concept of fill your heart. It's important to me. It's something that is like speaking to me right now. So my goal is to be able to share it on a larger level. And that's why I wanted to share this Just Be Social Club that we just did. I was excited to like get it out there to you because I just think this is such an important concept to begin to digest and to open your eyes to what your life could be and how you could start possibly building it out to make it happen. So just want to share that with y'all. And next week, we'll get back on our financial literacy-ish. But man, I'll catch y'all on Thursday for our Thursday Trends episode. If you like what you heard from the book, justbe.nyc, you got some copies I'll be signing to send out this first edition. And man, that's it. Catch you on Thursday for our Thursday Trends episode. Until then, stay safe. We'll talk soon. Peace.